10 o'clock too late for caffeine.
No, I'm having a Diet Coke and some water. I was a little sleepier. Is that bourbon, James? Oh,
no.
Well, hey, you. Welcome to Bonehead. Now, James, is that bourbon?
No, it's Coke Zero.
I had to move my bourbon stash earlier, and I realized I've got to keep it. I'm going to have to move because the bottles will end. I do meetings. You can see tops of bottles, and I'll forget to move them. And I don't even think I'm drinking. I think I just move this stuff around.
Those bottles had to get empty somehow, Joe.
Well, but you do work for that.
Kids hitting it hard, bud. Kids
you do have to. You do have to work in that Amish community when you have your Zoom meetings.
Yeah. Well, they don't show up. I call them no-show Amish.
I was gonna say, is all that bourbon going to the person who's watching the fog?
Probably.
Yay, verily, Brother Lewis.
So anyway,
we can't help but notice you Zoom a lot, but ain't nobody bringing in these crops.
Ain't nobody, Professor.
I was doing
ain't no sunshine.
I was doing the Amish, and
that's a good song, but that's not my favorite Bill Withers song.
If the Amish want to prove me wrong, they can do so by adding 30 new subscribers to Bonehead Weekly, and I will formally
on YouTube.
Yeah,
a few. So anyway, we had a guest planned for tonight. Very excited. She says she's going to come back according to all the paperwork that we've gotten. I mean, I'm sure that's what.
So you printed out the emails?
No, I was going.
Then it's not paperwork.
I was going to make a joke. What are those things that you get that you're cease and desist or?
Restraining orders.
Restraining order. I could not think of what restraining order was. According to the restraining order, we will see her in another 6 weeks.
As long as we do not get within 100 yards.
And as long as we don't get 100 yards, and I'm pretty sure I can find a mic cord that'll reach that long. Anyway, she's going to be on the show hopefully in the next week or two. So we had to come up with a topic, and we had to come up with it quick. And actually, I'm kind of, I don't know about excited, but we haven't done snow and ice movies.
No,
Joe. And there's snow business like snow business.
No, wait, Joe. James, you just said snow twice.
I sure did, because it's twice the fun, Chad.
Slicker than shit. He sure did.
Oh,
well,
it's even more dangerous if you're driving around on them baloney skins.
That baloney skin. You have to be from Kentucky, folks. For our folks who are in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Actually, those folks. It's somewhere in California. It's not Beaver Nugget, but what's it called in California? Braderton? There's something with a B. Remember when we were looking at that?
Oh, yeah. Places were popular.
There's a whole town of them that just bonehead. Hopefully they will get invited there today.
And to our one listener in Australia, don't look up baloney. You'll just hate America more.
Whatever. I don't want to hear it. But
isn't baloney German, though? We didn't come up with that. We can't claim that. I mean, that's wrong.
They probably came up with it. And honestly, it probably tasted better in Germany. And we just screwed it up.
No, it didn't have any seasoning in Germany. I've had some German food. They forgot the salt shaker. And I break the salt shaker.
Oh, nothing like some good boiled food.
Anyway, so we're in Lexington. And there's an ice storm.
Lexington, North Carolina.
Yeah, every 4 or 5 years. For some odd reason, there's a damned ice storm that comes through. Only this time we had electricity. It's nice. And there's been a lot of snow this winter. And I like movies that take place in the snow. And we decided we'd talk about snow movies.
So out of curiosity, gentlemen.
Snow buddies.
That's
the answer. That's the answer.
I've had to watch that movie 100 times.
Thank Jesus, I haven't had to. Frozen, but not that.
He's still young, but no.
Santa buddies.
When I was coming up with my list, did every single one I came up with the exception of maybe one?
Yeah,
they're not feel good movies.
No, and that's what I was thinking. I picked the way I did it, and I know we'll talk about this, but I want to say up front, as this topic came up, I actually stopped and thought, what films actually make me feel cold? And the reason I approach it that way,
I've got one that makes me feel very cold.
So, and it's not on my list, so if I'm still anybody else's, but a friend of my sister's worked in a movie theater. And she said it shocked her that when The Day After Tomorrow came out, it did not come out in the middle of winter. But as that movie played, she told me, a sizable amount of people would go out to their cars to get their jackets or their coats or whatever they had in their car. And I was like, really? and I thought about it, and I was like, well, I mean, if you're in a big screen movie, and I'm not a huge Day After Tomorrow fan, no offense meant to the Gyllenhaalics,
Is he in
but
that?
Yeah, it's Quaid. I've never seen it, so
Yeah, Dennis Quaid's in it. That's the
I-
one.
I-
He did 2 of those. What's the one with not Nick Cage, the other one that does all that shit? John Cusack.
2012.
I never saw that one either.
Neither did
I
I.
never saw 2012, but I saw Day After Tomorrow.
I did see
but,
A Day After Tomorrow. It's okay.
But yeah, it's on my butt. I had to think, well, I can see it. It doesn't have that effect on me. So the way I'm approaching this is, what movies do I watch? And I'm like, oh man, that would suck. Like, that is terrible. It gets to me a little bit. So that's how I'm picking my cold weather, wind, ice movies.
I just picked about 15 of them, so I don't have to talk about all of them.
Yeah,
But
I've got
let's all agree. What's the greatest movie of all time that takes place in the snow?
Ooh.
On the count of 3, everybody say theirs. Let's do
Okay.
something different.
All right.
1, 2. Now we're going to go on 3 or right after 3.
Now hold on. Now, are we saying the most effective film because of the snow? Like the snow adds to it?
Listen,
Or-
James, I'm going to tell you what I told somebody the other day. It works for me. Just figure it the fuck out. All right. Are we going on 3 or after 3?
You have an HR meeting coming up, don't you?
How'd you know? Oh my God. You're a soothsayer. Get away from me, demon. All right. On the count.
Sumerian.
1, 2, 3.
Empire.
The Thing.
The thing. I mean, it's because the weather is a character in.
Did you say
itself.
Empire?
Empire Strikes
Strikes Back.
Huh?
That was on some lists, because I always check out the list. But it is much.
The thing so
They
if
should have called it Colt.
I'll be honest with you. If it was on my list here, I would have said The Thing, but I took it off because I knew you were going to talk about it.
No.
so-
Well, I'm not actually going to talk about it.
I tried. I was going to
We've
think
talked
of
it-
something.
we've talked about
We've
it to
talked it
death.
to death.
I thought I was trying to come up with
You know,
something
now-
sarcastic to say, like Miracle on 34th Street, but I
That's
talked
a good
myself
one.
out of it.
But actually, I know you were right. You were saying we have talked about it often, but God bless him, that movie's been talked to death. It went
Yeah.
from dud to now it is held in such high regard. And I agree that it deserves it. It's just no point in talking about it anymore.
Yeah.
What
But
I
that
want to
did-
get, I want him on this show to talk about In the Mouth of Madness. I
Oh,
want
yeah.
him on this show to talk about Cigarette Burns, which was his last great
Oh.
piece of work.
I want him on the show to talk about Prince of Darkness and They Live.
And They Live, Prince of Darkness, and Big Trouble. So the things that I think people kind of
Yeah.
Oh, Mouth of Madness is
in the Mouth of
still-
Madness.
But yeah,
yeah.
Matt and yeah. But anyway, so yeah, no.
Back to Snow.
But yeah,
A
Snow.
Song
yeah,
of Fire and
thing,
Ice.
The thing.
Informer.
is-
Informer.
Every track was
Now.
1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch. It went all the way to 12 inch.
Now, why did
That's
you pick
'cause-
Empire?
Because in terms of if I'm thinking about a movie, like you said, a movie that encapsulates that has like snow.
Yeah.
And if it's not The Thing, it's Empire Strikes Back.
You know, so out of the three of us, I'm the G1 Star Wars person,
You
right?
are.
Since I was a little boy.
Me and
Little
James
Oh,
were
yeah,
Star
yeah.
Trek.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
love Star Trek. I love the movies. And then I discovered I knew about the shows, but my love for the shows didn't come until I was a grown man. I
Yeah.
love the movies. I mean, I've told you what Wrath of Khan is right here. Notice that it got moved even a little bit different. I want people to see it.
By the way, sorry, James, I didn't mean to speak for you, but kiss
No,
my
no,
ass.
no. I mean, and I've said it before. I got to Indiana Jones before I did Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but I was late to the party.
So
Fashionably late.
that's my favorite Star Wars film. It's the best Star Wars film. And it's funny to me. I do think of it as a little bit of a snow movie, but there's so many more elements to it that when I saw it on all those lists, I was like, it's not a snow movie to me.
It's not a
It
snow
just
movie.
happened to be the first 20 minutes.
Yeah,
takes place
it's
in
not a snow movie, but the first 20 minutes when he's trapped in that blizzard, and then Hans finds him, and they have to cut, and you're feeling the cold in
I
those
thought
scenes.
they smelled.
There's only
bad
one other
on
movie
the
that,
outside.
other than that one and The Thing, where I truly felt cold.
Yeah.
And that's those.
Now, if you're talking about truly felt cold, you guys just want to do a conversation and bring
Yeah,
it?
there's
Okay.
actually one movie other than The Thing where I truly feel cold watching it.
What is it? I wonder if it's
The
the same
Gray.
one as
The Gray.
fucker. That's
The
exactly
Gray.
what I was going to say next.
It's
is
actually
the Gray
I've
is the
got-
coldest goddamn movie ever made.
It is. It is chilling to the bone just to
The
watch
Gray
it.
is
I
the
could
coldest movie ever made. As
I would
Joe
be in the
Carnahan's
middle of-
masterpiece.
I would be in the middle of July watching The Gray, and I would feel a chill come up my spine.
Joe Carnahan's masterpiece, followed by
Yes.
Narc.
and then followed by the A Team.
I like the A-Team.
I do too.
Now,
I like Stretch.
There
I
is
like all
not
of his
not
movies.
a Drew Carnahan film that I do not like.
I agree. Even the one where he started it. Have you ever seen the low budget first movie he made?
Oh no, I've never seen that one.
It's
Show.
not great, but
by the way,
because he should never cast himself.
I would have loved to have seen his Daredevil, and we never got it.
Yeah. No,
So-
The Gray
so-
is the coolest movie ever made.
The
Yes.
Gray is it's terrible. But I want to do a movie you can parallel with The Gray. So this would be the B side of The Gray, so to speak. So if it was a drive-in, yeah, The Gray's your A movie. Your B movie that plays after The Gray, The Edge. It's not
That's
as
a
cold.
cold movie. Yeah.
It's not as cold, but I can remember before I ever saw The Edge, I was in high school when The Edge came out, and I was in AP biology, and my teacher came in. No, I wasn't in AP biology. I was in anatomy. But anyway, that being said, my teacher came in and said, I saw this movie over the weekend, and I literally stood up in the theater and said, why don't you all put on hats? And she did the entire thing about how much heat you lose through your head and all of that stuff. And I will never forget that because somebody said, what was the movie? And she goes, The Edge. It's a good movie, but anybody that knew anything about anatomy would get mad.
Can I say something?
What?
So The Gray is my favorite. I know Schindler's List is great and he does a good performance. I think The Gray is my favorite Liam Neeson.
I would 100% agree with you on
I
that.
think that's his Oscar performance is The Gray. And more people. I don't know. I don't know why that's not bigger. And The Edge may be the last two great performances of Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins in that movie is, and what I love about it is
Because Alec Baldwin has to play the bitch towards the end.
and Anthony
that's
Hopkins
hard.
is the intellectual, but he's often ineffectual, and so there's an entire commentary between, what that means and what it looks like. If you've never seen The Edge, by the way, and you're listening to this, watch The Gray first. Do not take away from this conversation. If you've never seen these films, you need to watch The Edge first. But it would be a good 2-part movie. Just if you want to feel cold one day.
I haven't seen The Edge in a long time, but
I haven't either.
But
It is.
Tell you.
But yeah, but
I love the
with
fact
the Gray,
that we all got that right.
The Gray,
The Gray
when
was
it
my number
opens up
one.
with him like walking in the blizzard at nighttime.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's just painful.
Oh.
It's painful to even imagine being in that situation.
And it's not even cold there. When his backstory unfolds, it just gets colder emotionally.
Yes.
And sadder, and you have such
Even
empathy.
the
And these men who are struck by tragedy.
Well, even the plane crash, right? And
Yeah.
not, without giving too much away, but there's a plane crash in it, and the fact he wakes up and the plane's down,
Mhm.
right? And it's you just look over and it's there. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
That's your only what you have to walk some way. Ain't nobody coming for you.
If you guys have never seen a little bit of it, he basically is a sniper for wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a true job, I guess, that does exist. And on some of these pipelines in British Columbia, I have no idea where these pipelines are.
Alaska, the
in
movie set in
Alaska,
Alaska.
on the movie set
He's
in
flying
Alaska.
over Alaska.
Yeah, oil pipelines, and these people work on them, and the wolves will attack them. They actually have people who are there to protect those people and shoot the wolves back. And he's fairly suicidal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
He's had some tragedy, and then he has to learn to survive and live. I don't want to give too much away. It's just a simplistic, wonderful movie.
And if you haven't seen it, take a minute, go watch The Gray. It is a phenomenal movie.
By the way, he has said on record, if the A-Team had been a huge success, The Gray probably wouldn't have got made.
Yeah,
because he'd have been working on the A-Team.
The Team Part 2. Yeah, which I would have loved to have seen, but I'm glad we
and
got
Bradley
The Gray.
Cooper was originally going to play the lead role. It wasn't going to be Liam Neeson.
Oh, really? Did not know that.
Google it. It's interesting. So, cold movies, gentlemen. Man, I've got a list here. Let's go ahead and Gray.
Let me jump in mine because we are in the middle of an ice storm.
Yeah.
If you say the ice storm.
No, I'm not going to say the ice storm, but
Ice Harvest.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I thought
I
you were
want to
being
bring
a
up The
joke.
Ice Harvest. It's one of my favorite crime films that honestly doesn't get a lot of play. It's one of Harold Ramis's darker films. And I thought about it because I actually had to drive in the ice to get my daughter to a doctor's appointment. And the whole time I was playing it, doing the drive, that movie was playing in my head.
It's a fun movie. It was Harold Ramis trying to make a Coen Brothers film. He
Exactly.
openly admitted it, right? That he
Yes.
loved the Coen. And if that was a type of film, then that was what he was trying to make.
And if that was a hit, I don't know what that would have done to Harold Ramis's future career before he couldn't do it anymore.
Was that his last theatrical film?
No, Year One was his last theatrical film.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I'm pretty sure. One of you want to check me up on that, but I'm pretty sure.
I know that I think his last directing was on The Office. He directed a few episodes of The Office.
Yeah, his last theatrical movie was Year One, and oh god, that's if there isn't a disappointment to a career, it's that.
But I think nobody remembers it in the
nobody
best way.
Does. And then Harold, you gotta think of Ice Harvest as his last film because it really is an underappreciated film. And Billy Bob Thornton, John Cusack, Oliver Platt, Mike Starr. I'm blanking on the female's name. Oh man. It's.
I didn't know that Harold Ramis developed the story for.
Yeah, you're right, Chad. It's Year One.
Mm-hmm.
For Rover Dangerfield. I didn't know he was the story developer.
He sued Rodney Dangerfield because Rodney Dangerfield wouldn't pay him. They actually ended up in a lawsuit over it.
By the way, are we getting a new Ghostbusters cartoon? Because there's also a new credit under his for aiding character development for a TV series called Ghostbusters Ecto Force.
I don't know.
Oh, by the way, I know we're not doing this episode about movies that got moved around, but I just want to say this for Ghostbuster nerds. My son plays Fortnite, and I was playing Fortnite, and I landed in this one area of the map, and there's a car under a tarp, and you pickaxe stuff because I couldn't move the tarp, and I picked it, and it had the siren, and I'm like, I bet had that movie not got moved, we would have saw more crossover features in Fortnite because they already had the uniforms you could get. But I'm betting now they're going to move that back because the movie got moved. So moved movies continuing to affect.
Joe, do you ever feel like you're lost on something, especially when you know Fortnite's as popular frame of reference for what it actually is?
Dude, it's.
I haven't.
Hold on, it's a video game, Chad.
I know it's a video game where people fall in and shoot people, but
you got the game.
This is a perfect example of there was a person I know. She messaged me earlier today, asked me a question, and I said okay, and then she said something about me going out or doing something. So, well, I got the kid. There's a pandemic, anyway. And she goes, asked me about a singer, and I messaged back going, I am the squarest person you can, and I doubt that she even knew what the reference meant. I am the squarest person you can meet. I have no idea who that is.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, they're not popular, so they're really cool. And then that means I totally don't know who
they are. Yeah.
There's no way. I know who the key, and we exaggerate. I know who the key grip is on some piece of shit from 1944, and my taste in music was 30 years before its time when I was 18.
I gotta tell you. So I gotta tell you, and then we'll get back on snow movies.
Suck.
I feel so out of place when I thought I found the most amazing discovery of this band, and I'm like, oh, this band is amazing. How come I never heard of them? This is amazing. The name of the band's Wolfpack, and I'm like, they are amazing. And then I found out they were popular in 2012.
I knew the band name when you said it, so I was like, it's got to be old.
Yeah, it's Volpec. They were popular in 2012. They're still popular. There's still quite a few listeners, but even by today's, they're out of date. It's almost 10 years old. I'm like, God damn it.
Listen, Chad, if you
I felt relevant for about half a second.
If you stop playing your Skrillex albums,
I don't know. So back to cold movies. Where did we live off before he went on his diatribe?
We were talking about the Ice Harvest.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I don't think a lot of people remember it.
Yeah,
it's an enjoyable film. I don't know if it's a great movie though.
It's not a great movie. It's enjoyable. And then you have all the elements of being in an ice storm where they slip and fall. He's almost in a car wreck because he's driving drunk and hits a patch of black ice.
Has one of my favorite lines. He doesn't buy the Mercedes, but he just ends up driving the Mercedes. What's the line Billy Bob says to him? You've been in a Mercedes 10 minutes. You're already an asshole.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? It's the one that sticks in my head all the time. I apologize.
Oh, and then talking about cold, Billy Bob Thornton falling in the water, and you could tell you're just instantly miserable because you know how cold that is because he's holding on to a trunk in the middle of an icy lake, and I was like, man, just kills me.
Okay, well, since you brought that one up and we're just kind of fleeting go, I'm going to tangentially, I screwed that word up, go to A Simple Plan, which is an also Billy Bob Thornton movie that's cold as hell and one of my favorite movies.
It's one of my favorites as well.
It's
And
Sam Raimi's best film that no one ever talks about.
yeah.
We will talk to you, Sam, about it anytime you want to come on the show. We promise not to ask one damned Evil Dead question because we probably know all the answers.
Yeah.
We may know more than you.
Let's talk about Crime Wave and let's talk about
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I'd love to talk about his experience working for AFCO Embassy before they went bankrupt.
Yeah.
I got that movie financed. Who okayed it?
Yeah.
Who
See,
greenlit that? You know what I mean?
That's my entire thing. I would love for us to do an episode. I'd love to do an episode with Sam Raimi and do it like y'all are talking about. I'd love to do an episode with Bruce Campbell. I want to ask one Evil Dead question. I want to ask one Burn Notice. I want a play-by-play of everything that happened on Moontrap.
I knew it. I knew it.
No, because who has those stories? Walter Koenig and Bruce Campbell. They're the only ones that know what happened there. I'm pretty sure
There wasn't
else,
a crew. That was a documentary.
Everybody else was put to death. I'm pretty sure because nobody ever has acknowledged it. Bruce Campbell acknowledges it. Walter Koenig.
James,
So
why
I'm
don't you look up the
assuming-
director of that? I'm sure we could get him on the show.
Shit, I wouldn't be so sure. It's so funny. There's so many low, and I don't mean to make. I will have. We love talking to directors and writers. We'll take anyone. We get Alex Proyas, who has made studio tentpole films, and then I'm not going to say other names like "fuck you, people." You all are low rent, right?
Huh? You know who did the who directed that? There, you see there. I didn't know there was a sequel too. It came out in
There's a
2017.
sequel?
There's a sequel. The gentleman who directed that, you may know,
By the way, people, this
His
is what happens
name-
when Bonehead doesn't have a script.
is Robert Dyke.
Yeah, Bob Dyke.
Robert Dyke did visual effects for Harry and the Hendersons and some film called Evil Dead 2.
Get him on the show, James.
Yeah, go ahead and get him on the show.
He's right now directing a film called Liquid Red. So
That's
he is
called
still
Blood.
working. So back to Frozen things though.
Or
yeah,
you know,
so watch A Simple Plan. I don't know.
or you know,
how-
ketchup. That's liquid red too, Joe.
That-
no.
It
I
could
don't-
be a
but
condiment.
I prefer hemoglobin on my French fried taters.
Oh,
Hemoglobin was a lot funnier than blood.
You gotta eat them before they coagulate.
I actually like it cold on my French fried taters.
because
Oh, this one's
Because-
scabbing up.
Oh.
French fries with blood and revenge are both dishes best served.
Best served cold.
All right, I've got another Frozen film. Another
it
good
Frozen?
ice film. It is Frozen. How did you know? But I could care
My-
less about letting it go.
Mine
It
is the
is
Frozen too.
Adam Green,
Yep.
Adam
Yeah.
That's his best film as well.
Frozen, because to me, are there wolves there? Yes. But the real enemy that they're fighting, the real monster, if you want to make this a monster film, is the cold.
Yep.
They are trapped.
I was going to say proper safety protocols.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's true. Do you want to give a
So-
brief
yes.
example?
This movie is about 3 skiers. They go to a resort, a ski resort.
Brief description.
And-
I said example.
And
I'm
one
sorry.
of them is Iceman.
Yes, one of them is Sean Ashmore, played Iceman in the X-Men movie. But they
Ironic.
I didn't remember that at
they
all.
con their way onto the ski lift, which means they're not officially counted. And when it closes down for the night, their ski lift gets stuck, and then they close for the night because by the numbers, everybody is off the ski lift, and it is cold.
You would know that as the same plot for Home Alone.
Yes, it's It's the Home Alone.
I swear
for
to
the
God, it
ski.
never occurred to me, but you're right. It is the same exact plot for Home Alone. The only difference is they recast Joe Pesci.
Joe froze
I don't
up.
have a joke. Go. Dead air. Dead air.
No, but yeah. So if you've never seen Frozen, it is also effective for making you feel that cold.
And it also has a talking snowman. Is
No,
it two
that's-
women and a guy?
No, it's
Yeah,
two guys.
it's
and a-
one woman and 2 guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy
two
shit,
guys
I
and a
don't
girl.
remember. Although I
It's
said
2
that was his
guys and a
best
girl,
film.
and at the end they start a pizza place.
Like
Now
2 weeks in a
that's-
row, baby.
I don't know which one's. Now that's probably Hatchet's a lot of fun. The
Hatchet's
sequels aren't
honestly,
good.
I like Hatchet over Frozen.
The sequels aren't good, but that first Hatchet movie is so much fun.
Honestly,
Hatchet-
the one thing that got me about Frozen, James, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the movie Frozen, when he's trying to climb the wire and it cuts into his hands, that is the part that makes me cringe.
Well, the entire thing about like not giving away some of the scenes in it, but some of the most effective scenes, the young lady has to pee. She has been up there for a while, and it freezes her legs and her pants to the ski lift.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that, James.
That is because you don't think about it, but then you're like, no, that's going to eventually, as her body temperature freezes because it's freezing outside, she has no shelter, she has nothing. It is eventually going to catch up with her. So there's just a lot of scenes in that. And what I was going to say about Hatchet is Frozen is probably, for me, more effective as an actual terror thing, like as actual, because I'm not going to go into
Frozen's
the swamp.
not. Frozen is more of a horror film than
Hatchet's a lot of fun.
Hatchet
because
is a
it
ton
plays
of
with
fun.
because it plays with horror film pastiches, if what you will.
Yeah,
But
it's the slasher
Frozen-
film. Yeah,
I didn't
Frozen
remember Victor
is-
Crowley wearing pasties.
Yeah, it's the director.
you didn't look close enough.
That's true.
Why don't you just get on the Twitter sphere
By the
and
way,
tweet at Kane Hodder and
This
ask
is-
him about wearing pasties?
this is more for
Let's know.
Chad. I was watching House 2 last night. And holy shit, there's two things I realized. One, that movie's got a bit of a budget. I was impressed with a lot of the sets and the effects. I was
It's
like,
amazing.
New World made this.
Yeah,
I was enjoying
John
that.
Ratzenberger don't come out for nothing.
I know. Second part is there why is have you guys seen it in a while?
I saw
Kane
it like five.
Hodder is the guy in the gorilla suit with his, and it's him, but he has the biggest head of curly hair before he falls off the second floor.
I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah, you got to Google. Well, you can Google the image, but I screamed out. I'm glad it did. Hey, it's Kane Hodder.
By the way,
I did that when I watched Under
ass.
Siege.
I don't know what
Is
it.
he in Under Siege? I need to
I'm
go
pretty
back
sure
and
he's in
look.
Under Siege. I think so. I think it was Under Siege.
I don't know what it says about me, but I've seen House 2 more than I ever saw House 1.
I have too. I
have too.
I watched it over and over as a kid. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And by the way, was enjoying it like again last night. Krista
Yeah.
came down and was about 20 minutes into it and goes, "What is this?" And I stopped 30 seconds trying to explain it.
Yeah,
When they had the little worm dog and the thing, and I was like, I can't explain.
there's no
this."
way to explain House 2.
No,
It's an experience.
It
House
is
one-
an experience.
House 1 is too much. House 1 is too much of a horror film, but House 2, mwah.
Yeah.
And also the
kinda
guy
like
from
House
The
1.
Greatest American Hero.
I'm not a big William Katz fan either, but
Yeah.
all right.
Well, look at what happened to me.
So
I can't
another
believe it
movie-
myself.
Another movie that really makes me feel cold and has has a snow element to it. And
His home movies.
yeah, 30 Days of Night.
Oh no.
It was on my list. It was on,
I forgot about that. I didn't put it on that. That's one thing they got right. They screwed
Yeah.
up some story elements and some casting, but I thought they got the cold right
You know,
Absolutely.
are you referring to Josh Hartnett?
a little bit.
That's the only movie I like Josh
bit.
Hartnett in.
A little bit. Him and
You
her.
don't
Is that
like him
Melissa
in Hollywood
George?
Homicide?
Oh yeah.
Him, her.
I've
and-
never got through Hollywood Homicide, James.
Sorry, I've got
Painful.
somebody's walking above me. Him and Melissa. Is that Melissa George? Is the lady, the
I
wife?
think
They're a
James,
little
Joe.
young. They're a little young for those parts.
Yeah.
I actually really, and the other issue is that I wish they'd have done a time thing with that because everybody goes in and steals their cell phone. There's just a couple of, I think there's a better way writing it that we could have figured that out
Yeah.
of how.
Or
these vampires-
said it in the past.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
what I'm saying. If
Or
we'd have
Rob
just said it at a
Zombie and
different
say,
time-
"Oh, this story
this
took place."
it takes
for-"
place in 1975.
Yeah.
Then it makes a little bit more sense to me.
But when they're out in that snow,
It's cold.
just it's cold. I have no desire to ever visit that place. And I'm like, all I can think
Is
about
that Barrow?
is why
Is that Barrow, Alaska? I think so.
Yeah, I
I
think
have
so.
to look it up. But it's just one of those things where I'm just like, who would live there? Like the Gray, he had no choice. Well,
Yeah.
he had a choice to take the job, but when he crashed, he had no choice. Those people chose to live.
Well,
I
through
don't know
that.
that I'd live there, but I'd probably visit. That's a great. Just to give a plug, I've got an original edition of that Steve Niles comic book. It's a lot of fun. The art in it's beautiful, and then they just kept making sequels to it. So
Yeah.
diminishing returns.
Well, but
I
I
love
mean,
the
once-
vampire, and I like the movie. You know what? And the head vampire actually, they
John
got the
Huston.
language right.
Not John
and
Houston.
No, yeah. Well,
It's his-
I almost said Walter Houston.
It's his son.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God, it's a Houston.
Is a Houston, but
Angelica.
they got the
No.
language right. You know, the vampires having their own language. What's his face is the crazy guy who's helping. All that's right, and they got the cold right. And that scene when he's got his arm and he's turning into a vampire at the end, that scream, that's bone chilling too.
God, it is. It's painful to listen to.
Yeah, but it's such an uneven movie. Even though I
That-
said
that
all
and-
that was
That
great.
and the Day of the Dead scene. Those are two parts where I cannot listen to it. I have to mute the
got
TV.
that perfect.
Danny
Perfect.
Houston.
Danny Houston. Thank you. He's in your favorite Wonder Woman movie.
Sorry, I had it muted. You didn't hear me go.
Yeah, I like the Wonder Womans. I only saw it that one time though. All right, what are we doing next? What's another cold one? 30 Days a Night's a good one.
And I brought it up before, and I enjoy it. And I think I probably enjoy it more than you all do. Snowpiercer to me.
Yeah,
Um,
Snowpiercer's
Yeah,
a good one.
Snowpiercer. But is it really?
because-
I know the cold's on the outside, but it's not really. It's all about. That's more of a claustrophobia film for me.
Well,
Yeah.
but to me, but it's not claustrophobic if that cold's not out there. Like you see the beginning of the film when they punish that guy, and his punishment is he has to lose his hand, so they just stick it outside the train, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
And then you just when it comes back in, it's frozen. They just snap and it's gone.
Now
It's-
I'm going to throw a David Fincher film, and it's a remake. I think The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the remake, is a chilling cold movie. What do you guys think?
In the same way, I think Let the Right One In.
Yes, that's
The
another
cold-
good one. The cold,
cold
plays with
plays,
the story. Yep.
Yeah.
That doesn't work if you're on a sunny beach.
Nope. Same thing probably with The Shining.
Mhm.
That's another famous one. Hateful Eight's just a remake of The Thing. I'm going through my list here.
Yeah.
I've got one that nobody's gonna mention because I know everybody else hates it, but I enjoy it, and
I've got one that neither one of you are going to mention either.
I don't
So,
think it works without the cold, but I think nobody remembers it as being a cold film. Ravenous.
Yeah, Ravenous was on several of those lists, though, guys.
I didn't even
Really?
think about it, James. That's,
Really, I didn't look at the year because Ravenous to me, the scene where the guy has. So if you've not seen Ravenous, if you've never heard of Ravenous, it has a unique soundtrack. A good friend of mine, Barnaby, loves that soundtrack. He actually says that soundtrack doesn't work with the film so much so that it works with the film. It gives you a different
Right.
take on it.
yeah.
And but Ravenous is basically there's a scene in it that almost very briefly put me off steaks. Like I had to wait till about 2 hours after the film to eat. The plot to the film.
I need a few minutes alone, boys.
Yeah, dude, I'm a
Medium
big guy.
rare. Medium
It-
rare.
Oh God.
I couldn't eat
Gonna
medium
take
rare
a
steak.
minute or two.
I couldn't eat medium rare steak for 2 or 3 days, but I bit the
2
head
or
off a
3
live
minutes
chicken.
I was before I went over to get that cheesy prime rib medium rare buffet
Oh.
steak.
But the beginning of the film, he survives a battle and he's kind of held as this hero, but it's because as he realized they were outgunned, he basically fell over in a pile of the dead and blood dripped down his mouth from these dead bodies that were falling on top of him. And he's held as a hero and he gets reassigned. And it turns out where he's reassigned, they're eating people. And there's a belief, it's basically the story of the Wendigo, right?
Yeah.
You eat the person, you gain their strength. And there's a scene in that always evokes in me.
Which is what happens when I go eat a triple cheeseburger from Wendy's.
Yep, you gain the
You become
power
a
of a cow.
Wendigo,
I can
or
go
you
from
gain
Wendigo.
the strength.
I go
the
right to
person
the
you just
Wendigo.
ate.
No, I go right to the shitter.
Wendigo to the shitter. Well, he went a minute ago.
But
I
there's an
get it
entire
now.
scene.
Ha ha ha.
There's an
Baloney
entire
skins.
scene. There's an entire scene.
360 J's just bringing it back. An entire scene. An entire scene.
There's an entire scene where the guy that was licking him earlier gets down in this frozen river, and he just basically, because he's so convinced he has all this, and that scene never fails to just make me feel absolutely cold.
So
Like
James,
it's a wet cold.
I
And
know
so
it's. Sorry,
go
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so if you've never seen Ravenous, it may not be your cup of tea, but it'll stick with you for a while.
Now let me ask you, in
Sticks
terms
to your
of
bones, sticks to your ribs.
which one of, so if you, I hate to do one, but I'm going to do a comparison. if you think about Ravenous, which one of these two movies do you think did a better comparison of that time frame and how cold it was to live in that time frame? Ravenous or The Revenant?
Revenant.
I
Oh,
think the Revenant. I think the Revenant, bar
Yeah.
none.
yeah. Well, and it's because the
I don't have
Revenant,
that on my list. That's a good one. I forgot.
the
Totally forgot
Revenant
about it.
is about surviving the cold partially. Ravenous is not. Ravenous is about these people want to eat me and gain that strength. I mean, that's what's it about, Chad? That's what it's about.
That's what it's
Well,
about.
who doesn't want to eat you, James?
Anybody that's worried about their cholesterol content.
That's
need a
true.
cigar.
You need to stop taking in some sodium.
So
Mm.
I'm gonna talk about a movie that I thought of, and Joe, I don't know if it shows up on any of your lists, but I want to talk about a movie that has a particular type of snow that can be particularly harmful.
Oh, he's going to talk about cocaine.
No, I'm gonna talk about the kind that's dead.
Oh, it's
No.
on my list.
It was
I've got it and the
had
sequel.
Yeah.
I put them both on there.
Yeah, Dead and Dead Snow 2, Red versus Dead.
Yeah.
Or-
Well, and in my defense, I forgot about it, and someone in this house reminded me when I was asked what topic, and they go, "Oh, you got to do the Nazi one." So keep going, Chad.
No,
You-
just Dead Snow.
honors.
So if you haven't seen Dead Snow, it's about zombie Nazis looking for their gold.
And
They took the plot for Leprechaun, and now instead of Warwick Davis, we have Nazis.
who are zombies, and he did the best Hansel and Gretel film.
And that would be
Right?
Joe.
What's it called? Is it Monster whatever?
Monster Hunters.
Monster
Hansel-
Hunters, Hansel and
I
Gretel?
think something like that. Yeah.
It's the best Hansel and Gretel film that has a diabetes subplot.
I've completely forgot it. I don't even remember.
Jeremy Reamer, is it Jeremy Reamer?
Yeah, Rayner.
Rainer, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
You're
yeah.
thinking, Joe, you're thinking about that film that you enjoyed so much at the movie warehouse that time about how one ran through it.
Oh, a Reamer runs through it. Kicked out of the porn section. So back to it. Yeah. So powerless superhero guy. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah. By the
No
way, we're not
powers.
talking about Dead Snow now. We're talking about Hansel and Gretel. Okay.
Yeah. He's diabetic. Remember the witch fed him all the sugar, and it later plays out as a subplot in the movie.
I've honestly forgotten everything about that movie.
It also has the F word quite a bit throughout. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I probably haven't seen it since I saw it that time. I went, oh my God, what a goofy, wonderful mess. And then that was the end of it.
Yeah. But I have not forgotten Dead Snow
No.
because Dead Snow is one of those films where it changes drastically.
That's also got, does that have a shitter scene in it where
It
and then they
does.
start having sex in the shitter?
It does.
Right? Yeah.
Is it sex? I thought it was just some guy getting. Man, okay. Apparently, I don't remember it that well.
I thought they were having sex in the
They might have
shitter.
been having sex.
I mean, I got one kink. I can't help it.
It's in and out.
It's better than a lot of other kinks.
You remember that time in Young Riders when Brian Dennehy just ripped up poor Kiefer Sutherland?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Dead Snow.
Dead Snow. So I've got one last depressing one, and then the rest of them I kind of want to end with upbeat. Winter's Bone.
Oh,
that's
I thought
cold.
one of you all would get Winter's Bone,
I
the
would-
movie that made Jennifer Lawrence a household name, or at least shot her to stardom,
Yeah.
or breakthrough role, if you will,
And she hasn't done anything of interesting since.
of interest.
Interest. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Oh my
she haven't
God.
does any interesting,
I'm so tired.
and that's what I appreciates about you, Chad.
She is.
That's
Now-
it. That's a joke for you two. That's what
I don't need to
appreciate.
taste this shittings.
I don't use to take this shittings. Why don't you bring it down about 20%, squirrely Chad? So
You spare parts, bud.
dead snow. Dead shit.
Wait, wait.
I almost said A Winter's Tale too. That's another batshit crazy movie with Russell Crowe fighting a gorilla. You guys ever seen that
Hell.
movie? You ever seen A Winter's Tale? It's fantastical. It's got I love that. Colin Farrell's the lead in it. It came out a few years ago. It was a big bomb.
Winter's Tale?
A Winter's Tale.
Never heard of it.
It's based on a book.
A lot
Thank
of
you.
things are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look.
Don't watch it.
Let me tell you about it, but don't watch it.
Don't watch it. Anyway, Winter's Bone. It's a sad, sad movie that takes place. Does that take place in Arkansas in the Ozarks?
Yes, in the Ozarks, absolutely. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
And I'm trying to remember the plot, but it's all about drugs. It has the great character actor. I can't
So
remember
Winter's
Deadwood's
Tale
name.
has a character named Dingy Worthington.
Yeah.
Now I gotta watch it.
It's not a good movie.
And then there's
It's-
another boy named Oyster Boy.
What's the one with Magneto, the young Magneto in it? And he plays the detective Harry Hole.
Isn't that Snowman?
Snow?
Yes.
Yeah. That's better than A Winter's Tale.
And that's just in case Winter's Tale was written and directed by Akiva Goldsman.
Mm-hmm.
So
Akiva Goldsman, Batman and Robin Akiva.
and that's saying something when you're comparing them, when you're saying the Snowman is better than
Well, in defense, I thought the Snowman was not just a halfway watchable, passable film. I didn't know why people shit all over it. The other one, the one that Ridley Scott directed, that was written by what's that Pulitzer guy's name that you love that wrote Blood Meridian? I can't. What's his name?
Cormac McCarthy.
Dean Coots, Chad. Cormac McCarthy. He wrote that screenplay where the one guy's an attorney. What's it called? The attorney, the lawyer. I don't know. It came and went with Ridley Scott, and everybody shit all over it. And I was like, well, it's not good, but it's not the worst thing I ever saw. A Winter's Tale is pretty bad. It's got magic in it.
I won't go out of my way to see that. Even though I want to see Dingy Worthington.
I think you need to watch Harry Hole first.
Snowman.
I don't even know what movie we were talking about, by the way.
Yes, we are talking about Winter's Bone.
Oh, that's what
he's fantastic in that. And what's that guy's name from Deadwood? John
Hawkes.
John Hawke. Yeah, he's fantastic. Oh God, he's a great villain in that.
That's one person who just doesn't get the credit.
I agree with you. I read an interview with him a few years ago. It was right after Lincoln, and he talked about he doesn't really have any children or any family, so he just takes stuff he wants to do. He doesn't have a lot of overhead, And I agree. He's a fantastic actor.
He'll get cold that way. That's
not a lot of overhead. Yeah. Especially in the ice storm.
Yeah.
You guys want to lighten it up a little?
Well, I'm not going to, Joe, because I've got to talk about this
man.
one. I have to talk about this one. You can't talk about a cold movie and not do this. So I want to set a scene for you, though, Joe and Chad. Let's imagine that you're coming off of being the live action director on 2 Roger Rabbit shorts that go out with Disney movies.
Yeah.
You do the live action direction.
You talking about Tummy Trouble and oh man, go ahead.
Roller
Coaster Rabbit.
I forgot the roller coaster title.
Roller Coaster Rabbit.
Yeah.
So Tummy Trouble, Roller Coaster Rabbit, and Disney likes that so much. They say, "Hey, we've got this other live action film. It's going to come out through one of our subsidiaries because it's not quite a Disney film."
Hold on, James. Tell me the movies they played in front of without looking. I can.
I'm not going to look that up. Go ahead.
How
Chad.
can you tell me?
Dick Tracy and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
There you go.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids had a one.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids had Tummy Trouble, I believe, and then Roller Coaster Rabbit was in front of Dick Tracy.
Oh.
So they then say they're proud of your work there, and you've been a producer since the 70s. So they give you, for your first full-length film, they say, we've got this film about spiders that we want you to direct. And you make Arachnophobia.
Was his last name FM? With his initials FM?
Initials, yes. And then you do that, and that does well enough that only 3 short years later, they come to you and they say, hey, we've got this other film. We noticed you went from a cartoon rabbit to spiders. How about this film? It's a feel-good film. It's about these people that survive a plane crash.
Oh, God.
Freezing temperatures.
I did not know Frank Marshall did that.
Yeah, he did it. They probably pitched it to him. You've got a cold marriage with Kathleen Kennedy. This shouldn't be any kind of... I don't know any of this.
That's so
I've never
bitchy.
met any of these people. But that's one of those marriages of convenience.
If you've never seen Alive,
I'm
I
just
don't know
making
if
this
I
up.
per
I've
se
never met these
recommend
people.
Alive. But Alive is really highly ranked. It's based on a true story about a rugby team that crashes in the Andes. And yes, to stay alive, they eat people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it stars Ethan Hawke, if you're an Ethan Hawke fan. But the joke I used to make every time.
Hold on, James. Hold on. He's no Stephen Dorff.
Anyway,
Steven Dorff is no more Steven Dorff.
every time I would see that, every time I would make this joke, somebody would be getting ready to take a flight, and I'm like, "Well, let me know if the in-flight movie's alive." And 99% of the people I said it to would be like, "Okay, is that new?" Yeah, no, it's totally new. Just get on the plane. But it is about a plane crash where yes, people end up. I mean, they have to eat the remains of the people that didn't survive the crash until they can be rescued. And it's based on a true story. So if you've never seen it live, that movie's cold.
In all fairness, they were all jocks. Fuck them.
And they all picked on Chad somehow, some way when it came out. It's like when they were sitting around the fire eating Tim.
I know there's going to be
no idea who Tim is. They were like, so you know what I'm going to do when
don't
I
call
get
it
back
football.
to Waddy?
You call it. You know what? Don't call it football. You call it soccer. America.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to do when I get back to Waddy?
Rugby.
And they say, well, I don't know. You got a bit of Tim in your teeth.
Oh, were they rugby players, James?
Yes, they're rugby players.
Oh, I thought it was soccer players.
No,
Shit.
rugby. Well,
That's
no,
even
here be an
stupider.
asshole, Chad. Go, what's the difference?
No, that's even stupider.
Lose our international
it's football
audience
without pads.
Glenn's gonna rip me a new one for making
now
fun
that
of
being
rugby.
said,
Oh, you are giving him too much credit that he's going to sit and listen to this shit.
that being said, that's actually a good point, Chad. We need to make that movie. Like they're all dead and they're miserable, but I just want one guy to pan over, one guy in a backwards baseball cap going, listen, they send Chad to save us. I'm just staying. I'll just die. I will not be rescued by
It's
Chad.
like we're from England, but we've never been to this magical land outside of Frankfurt called the Wadi.
No,
We're
hold
gonna
on.
go
If a plane
there
crashes if a plane crashes in
make
the
fun of
mountain and I'm
Chad.
supposed to rescue them, I'm showing up with a fork and some barbecue sauce and going, "You guys fucked up."
What kind of barbecue sauce?
Oh, sweet baby Ray's.
Okay, yeah. All right.
This just ain't your day, fellas.
It just ain't your day. All right. Well, I'm going to do a little bit of a lighthearted one. I can't believe either one of you haven't mentioned planes, trains, and automobiles.
Do I really think of that as yeah?
I don't know. There's a hell of a
one or
lot of
two
snow and
scenes.
cold in it.
There's
There
one or
it
two
is,
scenes that feel cold. I mean, when they're having to drive without the roof.
I've got two more too.
Yeah.
You guys got any other happy ones?
No,
Oh,
I didn't have dead snow as the happiest one on my list.
Well, here's one. I can't believe neither we talked about ice, but neither one of you talked about the greatest ice skating movie ever made, The
Mighty
Cutting
Ducks?
Edge.
What?
The Cutting Edge.
With
with
Moira
DB
Kelly.
Sweeney and Moira
DB
Kelly.
I don't remember her name, but I remember DB Sweeney.
Oh, you got to remember
clip.
Moira Kelly.
I actually really did like The Cutting Edge.
With
when I was a
honors.
kid. With honors,
With
is
honors,
cold,
Moira Kelly.
but that
Can you tell I had a
also-
crush on Moira Kelly when I was a
keep
teenager?
mentioning it a little bit. The problem with that movie is I don't have anything really. I just
I've
liked
never
The
seen
Cutting
it.
Edge as a kid. You've never seen With Honors?
No, I've seen With Honors. I've cried at With Honors. I've never seen The Cutting Edge.
Oh yeah, I liked it as a kid. It's a yeah. A lot of
No, I prefer DB Sweeney's performance in Spawn.
that is an awful movie.
It's
Joe,
terrible.
you're
It's
not going to
terrible.
talk about one of your favorite snow-filled films of all time.
Well,
the
I'm
one where
Blow.
the one where Elijah Wood plays the penguin. You know, Vertical Limit.
That is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
No, he also doesn't play a penguin in that, but sure.
Is that Schumacher?
No, it's Martin Campbell directed that.
Ooh.
The guy that gave us two great Bond. Well, one great Bond. I always think GoldenEye is
and
overrated.
fuck him. He fucked up Green Lantern.
Yeah, he did do that, but Vertical Limit, it has that where that guy falls from where he has to cut the rope and falls. And I don't know why he cut it that way and shot it that way. He's a serviceable director, but to me,
Yeah, he
it is
gave us
shot-
one good Zorro film.
It's shot and cut like a comedy. It's just thump. I laughed out loud in the theater when I
And that's what
saw
Green
By the
Lantern
way,
was shot. Green
that's
Lantern was shot as a comedy / TV movie.
By the way, once again, that's another film we have now unintentionally trespassed once again into Scott Glenn territory.
I like Scott Glenn.
I
like
do
Scott Glenn.
too. I always forget he's in Vertical Limit, and I'm like, wait a second, Scott Glenn's in that. By the way, do you
They
think
say get off that bull. No, he doesn't say that, but we used to know a guy who could do that dead up at like 400 octaves high.
Scott Glenn, do you think he is like to Vertical Limit like Lance Henriksen was to that survival camp movie?
The
You
one
remember
that's
that movie?
directed by Dan O'Bannon. I mean,
Yeah,
not Dan
yeah.
O'Bannon.
No.
Directed by
What is
Phantasm
that?
Dan. Why
What is
can't I
that?
think of Don Coscarelli?
because
the
that
whole
movie
cast
is,
of Aliens is in that. The bad what's his face from is in it too. He plays the bad guy.
yeah. Is this another? Speaking of feel good movies, you're not going to bring up I, Tonya?
No, but I was going to bring up Grumpy Old Men.
Yep.
Ooh, oh my God! Why didn't I come up with Grumpy Old Men? That is a great snow winter movie.
That's probably because I just get up in the morning and piss excellence.
Oh, you always
Actually, I
leave them
want
out.
to pee. I have a really large. I was going to say colon. That's not accurate at all.
Prostate Joe. That would be your prostate Joe.
And now,
Right?
Prostate's named Joe.
Unless your colon has gotten so big that it's ate your prostate, in which case you need to get to a doctor immediately.
No, well, probably.
You know, actually, another.
Yeah,
Too late
even
for
Joe's-
me, but
even
remember the children.
Even Joe's colon goes, feed me.
I don't think that's true.
By the way, you know, another scene that's got, and it's not all the time, it's not throughout the entire film, but the first Chronicle of Narnia film that Disney did, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, has some the very beginning of it. But even though Mr.
really like
Tumnus
that
still
movie,
doesn't
by the
wear
way.
a shirt, but he puts on a.
You know,
A
that movie,
scarf.
there's snow in it,
Mm-hmm.
but that movie, it's just like that movie and then AVP, Alien versus Predator. I don't feel cold watching those films. I just
Well,
don't feel
because that alien, that predator is so fucking hot, Chad. Even she tries to make out with him at the end.
It's true.
I mean,
have
he
to
takes
have
his shit off and you can see his ripped green chest and you're like, damn, mandibles.
By the way, a film that is set in the ice and cold, but I never feel cold due to my love of a single character in it. Of course, I speak to Ice Age with Scrat, which is now done because Disney
Blue Sky.
bought Blue Sky and fired those people.
Well, they're giving them the chance to move over to other jobs. They've got jobs out there in that warehouse.
By the way, I shouldn't say this when we're recording, so I won't, but remind me after we're done. I need to tell you something about that. But Ice Age,
But yeah,
if you're watching with kids, it's a lot of fun. And to be honest, I would watch if they kept doing Scrat shorts. I would watch them. Scrat is an interesting, entertaining, one-note character, but I love every time. Those movies are great when Scrat's on the screen. He just wants that nut.
So
That's all
what's
he
the
wants.
most uplifting cold movie? To me, it's either Planes, Trains. Planes, Trains, of course, got the bummer ending that everybody. I love it. Or Grumpy Old Men. Grumpy Old Men have put a smile on my face. Nothing
It's-
like old bastards talking shit.
honestly, it's Grumpy Old Men for me.
How about Cool Runnings, Joe?
I never cared for it.
I loved it as a kid. I've watched it recently and I cannot watch it. It's hacky.
How about any versions of How the Grinch Stole Christmas when he's out on Mount Crump?
I love the original Chuck Jones.
Yeah.
I did not. I actually prefer the Jim Carrey one over that piece of shit with
Benedict
Cumberbatch. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that one was pretty
Yeah,
slow and boring.
I have to watch them all because my kids love them all. Matter of fact, actually, I'm the one that always says, no. We start with the original one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
but the Chuck Jones one, that's just a masterpiece. That's like the Mona Lisa of animation,
I mean, honestly, the only
or one of it's one of my favorite animated things of all time.
other than Grumpy Old Men, the only other feel good cold movie, snow movie that I watched as a kid, and I watched it recently, and it's lost something in its appeal, is the Mighty Ducks film.
See, I didn't care for that as a kid either.
I liked it as a kid. I did. It was the one movie that me and my brother actually agreed upon that it was entertaining. Now, granted, he made me watch Mighty Ducks 2 way too many times, and I wanted to break the VCR.
I think
but,
you mean D2.
Oh yeah, sorry, D2, the Mighty Ducks. That's what it's called.
You're both missing a huge movie here that went on to win the Academy Award for Best Picture ever.
Snow Day?
Ski School.
No, I didn't forget ski school.
How are they going to take our ski school?
I just chose not to talk about it. Yeah, I don't.
But it has that brunette in it that was hot as balls from Christmas Vacation. And Dean Cameron, who is also hot as balls. And will not come on the show. I've asked him twice.
Nobody brought up Jack Frost either.
Are you talking?
Or snow falling on cedars.
Are you talking about Yvette Nipper?
I don't
Is
remember.
that who we're talking about
name.
from RoboCop?
Is that
Oh, she's
RoboCop 2.
is
Yeah.
is that some
She's
sort
in
of
the commercial to
euphemism?
also she's in motherfucking Phantom, Joe.
Is that some sort of...
You were talking about motherfucking Phantoms.
Oh, but
By the way, I want that to be its own movie.
Oh, I don't have a story about the Phantoms, but I do have a story about. Do you guys remember this movie called The Phantom that James hates?
I don't hate it. It's just I don't have that obsession.
You talking about with Billy Zane?
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen? Have I ever showed you this?
The
Hold on.
Ring?
Have I showed
No,
you it's
no.
solid metal. I don't know. It's a promotional from when the movie came out. I don't know how I got it. I have no recollection.
That's awesome.
I'm not giving it to you. I'll give you the Penguin Cup next time I see
don't.
you.
I'm fine with
But
that.
you're
I'll take
not
the Penguin
getting this
Cup.
one.
I'll take the Penguin Cup. I don't need that, but that is fucking cool.
I have held on to it for 20 some years, or actually, I guess that's the early 90s, right? It's been longer than that.
It's
Almost
92,
30.
93.
Almost getting close to 30. But I have no recollection. This thing is solid. I have no recollection of how the hell I got it.
Should we mention Misery? That's a cold movie.
Oh, it was on a lot of lists. I didn't write it down, but it's on a lot of.
Real quick before we go into Misery, back to Ski Patrol. You know who else was in Ski Patrol?
Ski Patrol or Ski School. Those are two different movies. Two
talking
totally
about-
different plots.
Were you talking about Ski School?
I said Ski School with Dean
Oh, I
Cameron.
looked up Ski Patrol, but you know who's in Ski Patrol?
Who?
A young Paul Feig.
Well, you know who's in Ski School?
I need to look it up because I was
Dean
talking about the
Cameron.
wrong.
Who was in an episode of Alf. There. The more you know.
Sorry, James. Go ahead. Talk about your Misery.
No, I just
Don't go talk about your kids.
Oh, I'm theirs.
Oh, no, I think it's a combination.
I mean, there's all sorts of. I was just thinking about films that will have somebody will say something. I mean, you could argue Cliffhanger has cold in it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Cliffhanger is one that's cold, but I never feel cold.
I never feel
simply
cold.
because John Lithgow's
James,
performance
Joe, you
is
talking about
hot.
Ava Fabian?
Yeah, that's her.
Okay.
She has the look.
She's got the look. Na 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 na.
Thank you, Roxette.
She was also in another cold movie, Extreme Limits,
Oh,
with
I
Treat
mean,
Williams.
there's any of those 1,000 adaptations of White Fang. I mean, but I never think.
I don't
about
think
that.
Extreme Limits was an adaptation of White Fang.
Oh, you're missing the subtext, sir. Watch it again. Insomnia.
Insomnia is cold. That's a Christopher Nolan movie that no one talks about.
Well, and that's a remake, right? Because
It's a remake. Yeah.
The original was. Oh, actually, I've got one more, and it's a terrible movie, but it does use cold relatively well because, see, the weasels that are getting up in people.
You mean
Don't like the cold.
the ones who go through the shit?
Yeah, Dreamcatcher.
Dreamcatcher.
Dreamcatcher does do cold pretty well.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad movie.
Oh,
With some
it's
good
bad.
parts.
But I challenge you to name me 3 other films where Morgan Freeman talks about them weasels.
Or where
As
Donnie
effectively.
Wahlberg plays mentally.
Duddits. Duddits, right? His name is Duddits.
Duddits.
Yeah,
Duddits. Oh.
with Jason Lee.
All right, boys. I think we've done and went.
No,
and
I just- I
shod
wanted-
this horse.
I would say I just wanted to throw out some because I know we'll end up getting mail, and by that I mean one person will tag us and say,
By
"Well, I
the
can't
way-
believe you didn't talk about this one."
Our viewership's been steady through the pandemic. It's not. It goes up of 20 or 10 here or 20 or lower there. Do you think if you're listening right now and you like the show, would you? I don't know. Be interested in a contest where you come up on the show, you can come on the show and pick the topic just to get some more subscribers or listeners or something. Just let us know. If I don't hear anything, then I know no one actually listens, so don't worry about it. But if you are listening to this,
You can do this on Facebook. You can twag us.
you can twag us. But what we're looking for is subscribers, either on our audio or on the YouTube version.
Yeah, and
So-
just let us know what you want because we have guests, and sometimes those episodes do well, sometimes they do less well.
And if you're able to get a bunch of subscribers, I'm not opposed to having a guest on the show to talk about some shit. I think it might be fun, depending on the
But-
guest. If you suck, just don't bother.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
but if you just think you suck because you have low self-esteem, but you have a billion followers,
we will still have you on the show.
yeah,
Because to go back to Chad earlier, and he was talking about Harold Ramis. There's a Harold Ramis quote that I didn't hear him say, but I've heard that's been attributed to him when he talked to people in film school. Look around the room. If you're not the smartest, go stand next to the one who is.
well, and the flip side of that is we will sell out because, to quote my hero Harlan Ellison, yeah, I'll sell out. I'll sell my soul, but it's going to be for top dollar.
Top dollar. All right. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this episode that dealt with snow and ice films. If we missed some, let us know. If we didn't, I don't have anything funny to say. We guys good?
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. This has been
I come from
Bonehead.
the land of the ice and the snow.
I come from the land down under.
Oh,
I
well,
don't
we
think
probably
there's that
won't
much
meet.
less. It's summer there. Bye.
In summer.